We are group 5 with 4 members, which is the first one is Nurliana Nadia binti Bangsawan with matric number S12547. Our second member is Muhammad Izzuddin bin Nurisam with matric number S12872. Husna binti Zulkaini Amila with matric number S12750, and last but not least, Alia Ridina binti Zaili with matric number S12896. This is Liana and this is Husna. One day, they were walking around UPM and a sudden thought came across their mind.
Weh, hari ni nak makan apa weh? Ayam penyet belakang tu pun sedap. Tapi kau tengah tengok apa? Aku tengah tengok pokok ni. Dah besar. Lepas tu daun dia banyak. Macam mana dia membesar kan? Aku pun terfikir. Kalau haiwan dia ada mulut untuk makan dan minum. Tapi kalau pokok macam mana kan? Itu lah. Aku rasa kan macam ni lah.
This is Izu. He will explain shortly about how water and minerals can be transported in roots of plants.
Mesti korang tanya kan? Pokok sebenarnya ada satu sistem yang dipanggil nama sistem pengangkutan air dan mineral yang membantu pokok untuk mendapatkan air dan mineral daripada tanah. So mesti korang nak tahu lebih lanjut bukan? So marilah kita dengarkan, mari kita belajar daripada kami semua tentang sistem pengangkutan air dan mineral. Let's go. Yo.
There are generally 3 ways on how water and minerals can enter a root of a plant. So the first way water and minerals can enter a root is by apoplast. The second one is symplast, and last but not least is transmembrane. Don't you guys worry, we will explain more briefly about these 3 ways of transportation of water and minerals in a root more briefly later on. Apoplast refers to the non-protoplasmic components of a plant, including the cell walls and the intercellular spaces. In a simpler term, apoplast pathway is when water and minerals are transported from root hair to xylem vessel through cell wall. The second method, which is the symplast. Symplast refers to the continuous network of protoplasts of a plant, which are interconnected by plasmodesmata. Symplast pathway is when water and minerals are transported via cytoplasm, unlike apoplast pathway where water and minerals are transported through cell wall. Last but not least is the transmembrane. Transmembrane, which is also known as transcellular, is the third way in which water and minerals move throughout the root system of plants. Transmembrane act as a two-way doors through which water and solids can flow. In transmembrane pathway, water crosses plasma membranes, entering and exiting each cell. Water moving through the transmembrane pathway thus moves through both the symplast and apoplast. Next, we are going to look at the differences between apoplast pathway and symplast pathway. The first one is apoplast pathway consists of non-protoplasmic parts such as cell walls and intracellular spaces. Symplast consists of protoplasts. Next, apoplast composed of non-living parts of a plant, meanwhile symplast composed of living parts of a plant. Thirdly, water movement occurs by passive diffusion for apoplast and osmosis for symplast. For apoplast, water movement is rapid, and for symplast, water movement is much more slower. Last but not least, metabolic rate of the cells in the root cortex does not affect the movements of water for apoplast and affect the movement of water for symplast.
I will continue about mineral uptake in plants. The mineral can be taken out by passive or active transport in the human cell. The presence of the capirazine strip prevent the backflow of the mineral and allow the plants to maintain a higher mineral concentration in the root xylem than can be found in the surrounding soil. Plants absorb mineral in ionic form. First is nitrate ion, second is phosphate ion, third is potassium ion. Ion cannot cross the plasma membrane because they polar molecule. Plant cell expend energy to active, take up and concentration mineral ion. Firstly is proton pump hydrolyze ATP and use the energy to transport hydrogen ion out of the cell. After that, an electrochemical gradient that's derived positively charged ion such as potassium ion through the channel protein into the cell. Besides, the negatively charged ions such as nitrate ion and phosphate ion are transported along with hydrogen ion by carrying protein. Hydrogen ion is moving down the concentration gradient, so no energy is required. This model of mineral ion transport based on the chemosis, which is the attachment of electrochemical gradient to perform work.
The next one is adaptation of route for mineral uptake. First one is nitrogen fixation. What is nitrogen fixation? It is an energy-intensive process that requires special conditions for the bacterial enzyme. This process requires an anaerobic environment because oxygen disrupts the nitrogen fixing process. Here we can see that's why the nitrogen fixing bacteria lives in root nodules, because here the oxygen levels are maintained high enough for the cellular respiration but low enough so as to not activate important nitrogen fixing bacteria. Next is mycorrhizae. Plants are extremely dependent on mycorrhizae. It involves fungi and almost all roots. Only small minority of plants do not have mycorrhizae. For fungus, it increases the surface area available for mineral and water uptake, breakdowns organic matter in soil, releasing nutrients the plant can use. In return, the root furnish the fungus with sugar and amino acid.
Without further ado, I would like to explain on root nodule formation, and we'll take a look on dissected parts of video that I will explain. As you can see, the plant roots will release nutrients called flavonoids that will attract the rhizobia and other bacteria. For this part, the rhizobia will attach to the surface of the plant root hair with the help of a specific adhesion protein called ricahexane. Ricahexane present on the surface of specific rhizobium species. And this will take a toll on the carbohydrate called lectin, which is an important plant cell surface receptor. After binding, the root hair will curl as the result of rhizobia secrete knot factors. Knot factors which will migrate to the plant cell's nucleus, and it will influence the transcription of gene needed for symbiosis relations. After curling, bacteria will enter the root hair and induce the plant to form an infection tract. This infection tract will spread down the root hair and into the adjoining cells. Plant cell will become infected by movement of bacteria through this tract. It will divide and respond to knot factors. Hence, while rhizobia will multiply rapidly in the cells. After that, it will transform into a mist-shaped structure called bacteroids. Bacteroids will become surrounded by plant cell membrane, and it will form a structure called symbiosomes. And this is where nitrogen fixation begins.
The last one is fun facts. Did you know that plants can be used for cleaning and discovery of minerals? But plants clean up the site in different ways depending on the substance involved.
For the organic contaminant, remnants can be either absorbed by plants or left in soil or water. For the inorganic contaminant, plants must then be harvested and disposed of or processed to reclaim the trapped contaminants.
Conclusion for water and mineral uptake. Main ones are pathway for water uptake, active transport for mineral, addition of roots for mineral uptake, root nodule formation, and some fun facts. We learned that there are two pathways for water uptake. One they enter the root by porous cell walls, and two one they are by root hairs, where both of these pathways will end up in xylem. Mineral ions cross plasma membranes by a chemi-osmotic mechanism. A proton pump is involved, and this process regards on the concentration gradient. We also learned that plants have a number of adaptations that assist them in acquiring nutrients. Legumes have root nodules which infected with rhizobia. Many other plants have mycorrhizae or fungus associated with the root system.